100 Thieves continues to be the talk of the town, and yet with another bombshell announcement coming last night, I thought it would only be right to give a call to one of the 5 players who will be under the 100 team banner this season. You know him as Kenny. I know him as Quavo. Kenny, how's it going today, my friend?
It's going good. Really good.
Doing good today?
Yeah.
After a crazy announcement yesterday, I know that Twitter was blowing up, Reddit was going crazy. That was a pretty interesting announcement, to say the least, pal.
Right. It was I mean, honestly, I wouldn't say it was unexpected to me, but like it was really like honestly like it was to the point where like we like didn't think like that was happening, and once it happened it was like, oh, like I just knew it was gonna blow up just because like the players that we got. Right.
Yeah, it's definitely pretty crazy, and I think the Twitter and Reddit probably reacted the way that it should have. But quickly before we talk of the new team, Kenny, I want to take you back to a year ago, right? Now, around this time, because I remember you announcing your return just to Call of Duty in general. You were not on a defined team yet. You weren't even on TK yet. And I remember watching you just dominate in countless online Ghost tournaments with Quavo, Steve, and the whole gang. And now we sit here a year later. You're a 3-time champion. You're a COD Champs runner-up. You're the World War II Breakout Player of the Year, and most notably the season MVP. And now you're regarded as the best SNG player in the world. In a nutshell, what has this past year been like for you?
Past year is amazing. I mean, it could have went better, obviously, but like three chips and second at champs, you can't ask for a better. I guess you could say my whole like rookie year that I got to play the full season.
Right.
Couldn't ask for a better. Like it's like you said, like I went from playing like Ghost S&D tournaments every day, just S&D tournaments in general, to being like considered like one of the best players in the world. Like that's you just can't ask for a better season, honestly.
That's for sure. Like, I don't think I've ever seen such a quick turnaround, probably in a player before. I mean, like, maybe you could compare it to, like, maybe Formal and Ghost, but he was already, like, fairly known in the esports community. Obviously, you played back in Advanced Warfare, but that was it's fair to say a heck of a year with all the titles that obviously come through with it. But let's go ahead and talk on 100 Thieves, right? For you and your teammates, what made this organization the one that you went for? And honestly, I want to know, too, did Nadeshot's history as a Call of Duty professional make an impact on your decision, too?
100%. That I think that I honestly looked at Nate. I mean, obviously I was a big fan of Nate when he was playing, and then like he's like Nate's pretty young, so I like younger org owners, I guess you could say, like people that can relate to like the players, and plus like Nate played COD, so like that was like a big like a big step towards like my like choosing towards my orgs, and then plus like 100 Thieves, like I just look at it as it's gonna be like the biggest org soon, like the biggest org in like esports, just because of like how Nate's doing everything. I think he's just doing everything right, and that I think every player right now will love to be on 100 Thieves. It's just like that org that you just can't say no to. And so when I was approached by Nate, I honestly was more surprised. Like it was like one of those things where like I've been wanting to join 100 Thieves since it was made. So like once I was approached, I was more overwhelmed with like being approached. Obviously, I was like I looked at myself as like, yeah, I'm gonna get hit up by a lot of orgs, a lot of players, but like 100 Thieves, probably not. And then like once I got the DM, it was just an easy like go to. Like it was like, yeah, I'm going 100 Thieves. Like as soon as I was at
It was an easy yes, to say the least,
like
huh?
yeah, it was like the easiest yes ever.
Of course, you join alongside with 4 other guys. Let's go ahead and get really right into your team, of course, right? Because I feel with every announcement, Kenny, the team just starts to get more and more intimidating. Like we start off with the one with you and Pharaoh, then we go to Octane, and now we have Enable and Slasher joining the group. But now I want you to give me your take on the new addition specifically in Enable and Slasher. Why do you feel like they got the call over everyone else?
Definitely. Enable got the call because he's a great in-game leader. Like me teaming with him for a few months just showed like how good of a teammate he is and how good his communication is. That's key. That's like really key for a team, especially when you have like people like Pharaoh who kind of go mute during game, but like are really good gun skill wise. So like he kind of picks up the slack on that part. Slasher being probably considerably the maybe the best AR in like the past few years. Like you can't go wrong with a player like that. And he's just been amazing as the AR role. Like with me being an aggressive sub and he's like a pretty aggressive AR, I feel like me and his duo could like really work together on the map.
Yeah, definitely for sure. But I feel like with all the positives, there are worries that can come from time to time. And at least from the community, the main worry that I've seen has been directed most specifically around the roles because they're saying, it could be a 3 SMG game. How would Enable translate? Now, personally, I was responding to a few of these comments, and I think while he, okay, I'll say this. Progressively, he obviously has traditionally had an AR in his hands for the most part, Enable. I think that'll work as a flex, obviously, because it's what he played in World War II for the most part, was a flex kind of transition into that. Or even Pharaoh could do that as well. But with Enable, I feel like knowing his role, especially on this team, being the IGL, it'll be a lot easier to transition to an SMG, especially with 5v5 coming into play. But what's your take on Enable potentially having to have an SMG in his hands quite a bit more this year?
So I think people got it mixed up. In World War II for our TK team, and they will actually ran second sub. Like Pharaoh was our flex. So like people like think there's a pacing role with that. Like Enable's not gonna be able to like keep up with me on the map, but like it worked for us in World War II. And like honestly, when we picked up Ian first or Enable, he was actually the flex, but then like it was a pacing role with Pharaoh because Pharaoh was wanting to run an AR. He's been wanting to run flex for the longest, and I feel like he's more comfortable with flex role, and Ian's more comfortable with a sub role because he ran sub for EG for a while before he joined our team, and I think he's I think he's better with a sub, to be honest. And like with me and Ian, our duo work around the map was just way easier. It just made everything easier, especially when like obviously like I have good communication, but at the same time when like I'm like in my like God mode, I'm just going off. I kind of like get kind of mute. And Ian like honestly, he makes the teamwork plays on the map. Like he's calling out for he literally calls out for people on the map. And it's like we have a player like that that's keeping up with you on the map it makes the map so much easier.
Well, I feel like oftentimes, at least I feel as if the term IGL, when it comes up, people think of guys like JCap, think of guys like Formal, Clayster, maybe even Looney as well. Not a whole lot of people think of Enable in that role quite a bit. Why do you think that is? Do you think he's just kind of been a sleeper player? Not many people know too much about him? Because I feel like at least with the TK team, I know you've already echoed it, at least so far, but I really feel like he's a huge contributor. While not necessarily in Search and Destroy, I feel like in every other category, especially the IGL position, he can really help a team and really help your guys' group of Slayers.
I think Enable is just so underrated. I think people just he doesn't make the flashy plays, he doesn't have the stats, but he's like one of the best teammates. Like I will hands down say that. Like I said, he doesn't make the flashy plays, doesn't have the stats, so people just overlook him. And like he hasn't won in a while since AEW, I'm pretty sure. So like that could also be a thing. And I think that like other teammates don't like I guess you could say how good he is as an in-game leader because like when I play with him, I'm like I can just say like he legit like brings the team together on the map. Like his like leadership during the maps is so key like for a team. So I feel like since he hasn't won in a long time and he doesn't have the stats, isn't having the flashy plays, he just gets thrown under the bus and just is an underrated player.
And I feel like too, with his prior history with especially you and Pharaoh, like he already knows half the team. He already knows how at least the subs, at least portion of the map, or even the flex, to a point, is going to know how to work as well. It's just a matter of learning how Octane and Slasher like to play. But now I'm going to say this: I'm deeming the lineup of you, Octane, and Slasher known as the Power Trio because you have two top 5 at the least, and I'm being very careful with that. Top 5 at the least assault rifle players over the last few years, in Octane and Slasher, and obviously yourself as the number 1 SMG. What's your thoughts on especially teaming up with those two guys?
Honestly, like I just think they're gonna kill everything. Like obviously when we got like Octane, I was like, okay, we got top 3 AR, and like we had the possibility of getting Slasher, and I'm just like Octane and Slasher on the map, like. People think like that won't work, but like obviously like we're gonna make it work. And it's just like we have people like that like who have been literally like they and then like it's so good because they play 2 different kind of AR roles. Like Slasher plays a more AR Slayer heavy role, like where he's like an aggressive AR, and then you have Octane who plays like a more I guess you could say like anchor like turret type AR. And so like I feel like it does work, especially because I think like the next game's gonna get a 2 AR meta with 3 subs. So like it definitely should work. And I think that our trio is gonna be nasty just because like our slam power is just there. We just have to put the pieces together on the map, and like I feel like that just comes with Ian being on the team. Like he's gonna put all the pieces together and just make our slaying turn into wins.
Right. Now, while we're on the topic of teammates, since you guys managed to add Enable to the roster, of course, this guarantees 100T a pool spot at Vegas, and I believe the number one seed as well, since you have three-fourths of the players from Team Caliber Squad. Was that a factor actually in adding Enable to the team, or had you guys already made your mind up at that point that he was like, while he does come with a guaranteed pool spot, it was just a positive?
Honestly, the pool spot wasn't looked at, like wasn't like factored in because with me being second in pro points and Sam being up there, we were guaranteed a pool play spot.
Hmm.
Like not guaranteed, but like we're more
It's
like
very likely.
yeah,
Yeah.
it was like it didn't matter who we picked up because obviously we were picking up a decent player that actually had a lot of pro points. So like either way, we were kind of like guaranteed a pro fuck I can't talk. I'm a pool play
It's
spot.
okay.
I'm sorry, pool play spot. But yeah, like it wasn't factored in with picking up Enable, but like it definitely was looked at because like it obviously guaranteed us one, but like at the same time we were kind of guaranteed one, so it really wasn't like a factor in picking them up.
Now, quickly, I want to speak on game modes because you guys, at least in Search and Destroy, are okay. I'll say outside of Enable, right? All jokes aside, you guys are looking scary. Dare I say, almost unbeatable on paper. Because I just want to, I want to throw a few of these stats by you, Kenny. I'm sure you're probably already aware, but just in case you're not, I'm going to run through your main four, at least as far as Search and Destroy is considered, because Slasher holds the number 2 KD in Search and Destroy throughout all of World War II is what these stats are from. So Slasher, number 2 KD in Search and Destroy, number 5 in S&D kills per round. Kenny, obviously yourself, number 20 in Search and Destroy KD, however, number 9 in S&D kills per round. Octane, number 9 in S&D KD, number 14 in S&D kills per round. And of course, the very best one of them all, Pharaoh, number 6 in S&D KD, and number 1 in S&D kills per round. So in S&D KD, you guys have the number 2 position, number 6, number 9, and 20. In S&D kills per round, you have number 1, number 5, number 9, and number 14. I gotta say, man, like the S&D skill around this team, to me, is one of the most exciting factors. What do you love most about this lineup? Is it your guys' Search and Destroy game, or is it just a multitude of things?
It's definitely like the search and story, definitely, but I just want to see our respawn. Like our respawn game it just like on paper it just sounds so scary. Like you have like players who like me who I'm pretty sure last year I had the best KD for a person with the most engagements in like the top 5. Like that's just insane. Like if I'm keeping up that like type of aggressiveness and I have an AR like Austin Slasher who's like disgusting. He's considerably the best AR last year. Like it's like how do we lose a respawn? It's like it's so hard to think of how we lose a respawn. And then we factor in the S&D where we're all just like discussing S&D. And then even though like I said, Ian doesn't have like the stats in S&D, he's gonna put all the pieces together. And like the strats, I wouldn't say the strats are gonna come from him, but like the strats are gonna be based off him. Just because of the fact that like he's like I don't know how to explain it. Like we put like Ian's the type of player you put on an island. Like you just put him by himself, like at a bomb site, and he just plays it. So like that's why his stats aren't as good. But I don't know. I think our respawn is pretty scary. Just with the like the KDs, like the respawn KDs we have on our team. Like it's honestly gonna be insane.
Yeah, you guys are looking pretty solid at the very least in just about every single game that we can come up with. Of course, yet to see how Control would maybe play out. But
Oh yeah.
quickly before we close things out, Kenny, is there anything you'd like to say to the 100 Thieves fans out there, especially after this last announcement?
Just get ready to cheer on some chips. To be honest, I see a lot of championships coming with this team, and I hope that this team actually turns into a dynasty roster where we just stick together forever.
Absolutely, buddy. Well, of course, that's Kenny, pro Call of Duty player for 100 Thieves. You can follow Kenny on Twitter at QuavoKenny or on Twitch at twitch.tv/QuavoKen. Kenny, always, buddy, great to speak with you.